Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right, guys. It was kind of a very slow day as expected. I mean, it was tomorrow's holiday, so today was a very slow day. There was a lot of run-ups in the semiconductor field, which we'll talk about: ARM, NVIDIA, Dell. Those were the big plays that were running today. I personally didn't take too many trades, but I did take few. But there are a lot of good trade ideas by the community, a lot of good community callouts, and so let's talk and review all the trades and recaps. Before I do that, just a quick introduction for anybody who's new to my Twitter or my YouTube or new to my community. These trade recaps and these teachings, any trade, swing trade, investment idea, or any day trades that I talk about are either from mostly from my community, trading floor, any trades I am taking or I'm not taking, but I'm guiding the community, or any trade ideas from our trading floor, our traders, or any trade idea, any setup that I share on YouTube in my previous videos, or any idea I share on Twitter X. So we try to see how we made money, how we lost money, what was the setup that we were trying to trade, because we only trade repeatable setups. We trade repeatable system. We do not trade random. My repeatable system based upon EMA Cloud system, thousands of traders across the world use it for to make consistent profits in the market with good risk reward. And we always trade fixed setups. So whether it's a day trade, swing trade, investment, does not matter. It's always a fixed setup which repeats again and again and again. That's what we do. Every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for our community traders, and this was the game plan for today. There was not much going on. There were only two earning plays, which didn't really have much volatility, but SMCI was gapping up. Boeing had a news, and there was a bunch of upgrades. Micron had an upgrade, and some other plays. So we share this, and I share the support and resistance pivots and my initial bias in the pre-market with the community, and based upon that we trade all day. Then I also share what is I call Ripster day 2 day 3 setups. These setups are from my strategy that I built, and I did a free webinar for a lot of people on Twitter as well. There's a webinar included in our community which shows how to play these day 2 day 3 setups. Today, there was definitely some movers on day 2 day 3 setup. Dell was one of the main movers. Adobe was one of the main movers on our day 2 day 3 setup. CELH was, not all of them will trigger, but if I see something, if something triggers and I see the volume, then I tell the community, I take the trade as well. Today there was definitely some setups. Dell was a great one that the community killed it. So we'll talk about that. In addition to that, we also share what we call as our daily levels, support and resistance levels. We'll use these levels to trade long or short as combined with our system. You can see we had levels on ARM, and ARM was a big win for the community that we will recap as well on ARM. So we'll check that out. And so this is the plan. This is the pre-market plan. I'm usually on voice first few hours, and then I'm on the market. If it's a busy day, then I'm continuously look for the ideas all day. But today was kind of a slow, so I was on for first few hours, and then I didn't really trade much. But there was a lot of activity in the community trading floor, and we will discuss all that. I will show you any timestamped comments from me, my traders, our community, and definitely I'm going to cover a lot of trade ideas from the traders today on the floor, because there were definitely a lot of nice winning plays. That being said, let's start with the recaps. Let's start with our first play. The first play we're going to talk about is ARM. The ARM, and the whole credit for the ARM trade goes to our traders in the community, and which were on top of it all day. I was on the voice as well. I did talk about how ARM was. I discussed it yesterday as well, but let me show you. So you see that Robocash, Fahed, Rishi was long on ARM right at open. Very impressive by Rishi. So we were having callouts. But let's see first. So what was ARM today? First of all, I want to talk about SPY. SPY was, we have been running crazy for so many days, and then we run so much, then you have a chop. This was a chop, up, down, up, down, up, down. I can't trade that. This is not what I want, and that's why most of the names, mega caps, were kind of choppy. But semiconductors did have a strength. Again, I mean, there's a lot of FOMO for semiconductors. Everybody's buying semiconductors, and it is what it is. one day the music will end and we will get nice pullback. But for now, semiconductors were strong. If I show you the whole day chart on the semiconductors, let's say if I can begin in the morning, so you can see. Let me just, maybe I can just go to the 10-minute chart. So you see from this, when we started the day, let's see where it was. So, when we started the day, the semiconductors were kind of pretty strong, and all day they held up the strength. They were, this blue line right here is the semiconductors, and you see that they held the strength all day, and in the middle of the day they were kind of leading the sectors which were strong. And the part of the reason on the semiconductor was, you see, there was a bunch of news. There was a Micron upgrades and AVGO upgrades. Then SMCI had a news, right? And so all of them were kind of, the long strength setups. So that's why there were a lot of winners on that. So talking about ARM, which is of course a big semiconductor play. It is an IPO setup, right? Recent IPO, when it breaks an recent high, it always pushes. That's one of the golden rule for an IPO trades, because when an IPO trade breaks up or is high recent highs, it's always a breakout. It's also all-time high. There is no resistance up top. Every investor who has ever bought ARM is profitable, so he has no reason to sell. Sector is strong, so overall it's a bullish, right? It is bullish. So if I talk about the levels, my levels on ARM were, resistance levels 160, 185, 160 to 70. So those were the levels I gave in the pre-market. And then we had, we had all other semiconductors strong. So as soon as the market opened, let's see. So you can see that I was on the voice. I did talk about this chart. I did share this chart as well on Twitter. I can show you that when the breakout was happening. So let's see if I can show you that before and after on SMCI, right? Even though it was a little, I shared this before when the breakout was always happening. You see this breakout, all-time high, this level, and it ended up pushing to 175s from our breakout level. So it was a long setup. Now intraday, intraday ARM was bullish, right? So you see that breaking out, pullback, 10 a.m. flag breakout, long, and you can see the trading floor guidance. And this one was all our traders. RGV was on top of it. You can see his guidance, and Rishi was long in the morning. I was on the voice. I was trading up Micron, so I was more tied up with the Micron. But the point is, this breakout, $10 move, decent money to be made. You know, 165 calls, 170 lotos, everything went 50 to 100%. So there was a lot of opportunities to make entry here, stops here in the clouds, flag breakout here, stops here in this candle lows. You can literally trade it all day, right? So you can see all the timestamped comments in the community, chart by chart. This is the flag setup. You see this, the flag setup that was midday before, and then there was this flag setup after, after the flag broke out. So you can clearly see how the trade was flag breakout. So the opportunity. So in our community, that's why we stay on the top of everything. That's why we have ARM always on our our charts. We're always watching them. You see, I had a price alert up as well for the breakout. I already had a 168 breakout set up. You see this goes, and then it goes to flag breakout, and I even shared the chart on Twitter. So it was a lot of opportunity. So that was one of the rare big winners on for the community on ARM. So I showed you all. You can watch the screen, review my levels. You can review the timestamped comments by the traders, the RGV, and many others. So it's definitely, it was a good win. If you didn't trade ARM today, just remember the setup, and next time we are running the breakouts, all-time highs on IPOs, try to be there before the move, and just like I showed you the tweets before the move and after the move, right? So anyways, that was ARM, was community callouts and RGV and many others. Beautiful trade, winner, nice money maker for the community. All right, let's look at the next one. This next one, Micron, was my personal trade. So I was trading it when it was running. My target was 158. But before I go into the deep, let me show you the levels, right? So Micron profit target increased, Wedbush increased, Stifle increased, and Bank of America added it as a number one list. And so it's just a FOMO across the board for all these runners. And I told everybody to trade versus 150 psychological level because Micron was over the 150 psychological level. That was a simple setup, 150 psychological level. And let's see what I was saying. What was my time-stamped guidance on Micron? So I said 150 psych big level today, long idea. Better to add pullbacks, for the new traders. I always advise that, or you can start 1/4 position or wait for the amateur trend to end, right? So that's the long idea. The initial risk was 150, 134. Yeah, 150, 40 area was a wider risk, but it was breaking out of the pre-market highs. You could take long here, an amateur move. Then it was flagging. I told everybody we are flagging, and then we flag breakout. So I gave the target 158 and continuous guidance, and we did get almost close to 158. I mean, we were short 46 cents, but then it fell back and you stop out on the 512s. I did send out a 512 alert actually when it was breaking. You see 512 breaks, exit. So my final exit was that 155 area, even though we were long from 152 area. And even there was a nice short setup as well in the end of the day when it was breaking 512s. So that was Micron. And there's a shout out to Yash, and he was on top of Micron and Dell all day. And beautiful guidance by Yash, our level 2 trader. So yeah, so that was Micron. The calls definitely moved nicely, 155s, 166s. So that was really nice by Yash. So let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to discuss is SMCI. It was okay, SMCI have been running as too much flow in SMCI and NVIDIA. We'll talk about NVIDIA in a bit here. Because if you remember, yesterday was this flag breakout, right? So this was a flag breakout setup. We talked about it. Today it was just a reset of that breakout, retest of that breakout. This is a retest, okay? I always talk about retest. So it pulled back to that breakout. Look here, was support, resistance becomes support. So SMCI was, basically it was a retest, right? It was a retest of this breakout yesterday. So that's why if you look at SMCI intraday, it was pulling back in the morning to the support level. I was not interested in the long there. Of course, it was a retest, but I was interested when it was back over the clouds. So you saw the daily chart, right? The breakout and the retest, right? So when SMCI was moving over that, and I was on voice, I talked to everyone that we can trade the pullback to 900. It was all about the psychological level 900 on SMCI, and it was there was 909, 902 resistance, but this 900 psychological level was important, right? And then there was a support here, and then there was ultimate support was this one 880. Um, you know. The support of 885. You see here? You see where it's bouncing? So that was a support that I gave in the pre-market. Exactly, that's where it was bouncing. And we traded SMCI crazy, and I did mention that SMCI became bullish and very strong on the voice, and I did on the voice trade this breakout out of 920 level, and there's a lot of flow coming in. Lot of flow coming in, 1,000 calls, 950 calls. I did trade those when we were breaking out of this 915, 18, 920. We pushed to 930, made a little bit chump change, nothing special. And then when we pulled back again to the 900 level, you see there was another trade, right? So there was another trade on SMCI. So community really did good on SMCI today, especially all these setups. The morning setup, risk is here. I gave them the risk, right? So I think I gave them the risk of second bounce was 898. On this bounce, the risk was 898, and you're trying to get back to 930. So it's, even wherever you're adding, you're risking $5-6 to make $15. So that's not bad risk to reward. But that was the setup. So that was the setup on SMCI. That was mostly a voice call outs, and and just wanted to show you guys the reasoning behind the move. I think SMCI still is a solid play. we can, and there was a flow. We watched a lot of flow on our option flow scanners today, so that's why it was a little, we know they're still buying 950s and thousands, so we're still very much bullish, and beautiful setup today. Next one we're going to look at is Tesla. So Tesla today was bearish, no long. So I also emphasize, even if you did not short it, but I did not let anybody long it, we don't lose money. So nobody in our community would be longing this, nobody, because I strictly tell everybody no longs, right? So I tell it because why? It's Ripster clouds bearish and it's breaking this pivot. So let's go and look at the Tesla levels from the pre-market, 186.20. Just focus on this level that I gave in the pre-market. It's a short here. The risk is 187. So I tell everybody no longs, short scalps. If you have to be, sometimes I'm, if you have to get a good entry, right? 186 is a good entry right here. You risk $1 and you short it. So you trade the open. It's an amateur move. You have to watch my trade the open webinar to understand how that works. And then the support level, the target levels I gave everybody was 183, 182. That's where you cover your short. And we did meet 183 target, and after that I saw the buyer coming in. It was basing, right? You saw there was a basing here. So I told everybody it's basing at this area. So you can draw a support zone here. So of course, so only trade was a short here. If you long here, it's a D minus setup. I did scalp a little bit when Tesla was pushing over this area. This, you see this curl, and I took it and it was 184s, pushed a little bit like a dollar, then pulled back, and I got out. It was a scratch trade. It was working, right? If you see where, if you enter at 184 and you have stops here, and that's what I was talking about here. 183 was your risk on this 512 curl, and it did pull back, and you see it almost bounced from that 183.70 area. But I was not interested in that chop, and then it pulled back. But again, it held higher lows. So there was also this trade, higher lows, and your ultimate support is like this candle. You see this candle is ultimate support to long. These are B minus setup, C minus setup longs. It's a our repeatable setup, and you see it could never get over 3450. So learn this setup. But anyways, Tesla was a good short in the morning, short winner, and the call was okay. It was kind of a scratch, but it's flagging on daily. In Thursday I would be interested in Tesla breakout. Very nice setup here, so we'll see. All right, let's look at Nvidia. Just a little analysis of Nvidia. Nvidia right now is just a crazy FOMO trade. I mean, you can scalp it, you can trade it, and no, it's not a bad idea because the flow was crazy today. The flow is just insane. I did talk about an Nvidia flow in the community today as well, and we have our four scanners, and all we were seeing is the flow. 140s, 135s, 134s, crazy flow all day. There was, I mean, I hate to like something that keeps going up, but we trade which is in front of us, right? I mean, you know, I was expecting chop, but once it starts to break out, let's look at our pivot levels here. So what was our levels on Nvidia? 132.30, 133.79. So you see that 132.30, this is the breakout zone. So from yesterday, this is a 1 hour breakout. If you look here, I can draw it on 1 hour chart. So you can see that there was a 1 hour breakout on Nvidia right here, and then oh, okay, it's right here, and then there's another breakout right here. Look at the 1 hour chart. So this is a 1 hour chart. We were pulling back to 1 hour EMA clouds right here on Nvidia. So that's your 1 hour risk reward trade. If you want to trade 1 hour charts, then you risk here. If you're trading 10 minutes chart, then intraday, then you even the same risk applies here. But the intraday trade was really when it pushed over the clouds right here, and then it breaks out. And we did see a lot of flow all day on Nvidia. I mean, there was a flow since morning. There was flow, and the whole community was on top of Nvidia, and Trader Vic was on Nvidia. So there was and then once it turned bullish, that was it, right? But I kind of like the setup when we were flagging here. There was all day scalps. I think I tweeted about that as well. You can see that Jaswinder was talking about the flag, and this is the flag. it was the same flag that I would show you, but the community traders are showing the same thing. So it's flag. So this is our 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m. flag setup. You can take this breakout, you risk under this candle, or worst case this candle. Really nice charting by North Trader. I really like that. So I really encourage my traders to share the ideas in the community, and we all are over on the top of most of those trades. But anyways, so there was the long on Nvidia was right here or here or a flag break here, and you can always size 1/3 1/4 your position. You don't really have to go full size, but what you will notice is nobody is trying to short it, right? Everybody is trying to long it because the system says long. Once the system says long, it's all about finding a good entry, which could be here, which could be here, and which could be here, and then you just have to risk right these levels. So there's a breakout here, there's breakout here, there's a flag breakout here. So there's almost opportunities, and you don't have to like load up fully, right? If you take like 20 contracts, you just take 2 contracts, 3 contracts, just be part of the trend. And yeah, and that's the story of Nvidia. It's 1.336 trillion. It's going crazy. One day it's going to pull back hard, because it is, I mean, it is kind of, even though it's riding 512s, 130 is a pullback area. But as long as it holds this 512s, Nvidia's nothing is going to happen to it. It's going to keep going. If you see this trend, it's going to keep going, right? Flag after flag after flag. And it's just not the stock and the fundamentals. There's a lot of options related activity as well. They keep buying out of the money options, and they keep, the market makers need to keep covering that because the float is relatively still not that crazy. But you can see that, right? How how the daily chart keeps going up, 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 up. One day the music will end. That's fine. We'll be there to short it. But as long as the trend is long, we do not mess with the short, right? The 1 hour is still bullish. So we have no reason to get front of the running train, and we can trade these breakouts intraday like you see here. I mean, I even tweeted about in the morning, and the flow, right? So I talked about flow. You can see here, big breakout, so much flow, and that's it. It's a very simple easy trade. That's what I'm trying to teach my community. I have these breakout alerts. You can see 135s, and then it pushed higher because I try to teach people how to find these setups themselves, how to get the entries themselves next time, right? My focus is not giving you blind alerts. So of course, I always give the trade ideas, but today was a day to sit on hands for most of part. But Nvidia, SMCI, Dell, Micron, you see that all are in the same sector and all have a different setups. SMCI had a different setup, ARM had a different setup, Nvidia had a different setup. So as long as you understand that, you will be able to find good trading day in day out. For day trades, swing trades, doesn't matter. It's also all about the setup, and which is repeatable, and studying the market structure. The key thing is we are not going against the trend. That's fine. You didn't make money on Nvidia, ARM, or Micron, that's fine, but you were not shorting it either. And that's money not lost is money made. So that's my motto, right? You don't lose money, that's the money made. If you could have an imaginary loss of, let's say, imaginary loss of thousands of dollars, assuming you traded today and you traded against the trend, and rather than no trading, then you we don't think about what could have happened, but you should think that way. You did not make any wrong decision. If you missed Nvidia, missed ARM, missed Micron, missed Dell, that is okay. That's no big deal about that, right? So anyways, that was Nvidia. Just wanted to do an in-depth analysis on Nvidia, technically. And now let's go to the next one. So Dell is was long, and the reason Dell was long, if I go back here, let's look here. So you see this morning, I talked about it in yesterday's video as well. It's a swing watch. I want to swing it because this is the gap fill on Dell. This is the gap, and I did share it, talk about it yesterday as well, and that was a gap breakout. So today the levels on Dell were 146.27, 146.83. Support was here. So I gave this. There's a reason the Dell was on top of our day two, because because of this setup. I had watched this setup in the pre-market, and then that's why I put it number 2 as our day 2 setup. And kudos to a lot of people today in the community, and who did really good on Dell. Actually, let's again, there was a lot of shout out to one of our lead traders, Yash, and that he was talking about Dell all day, and whole community was so focused on Dell. I'm really proud of it. It's, you can see that how we are, how the community since morning was on top of Dell. Dell, Dell, Dell. People are swinging. Randy was swinging because of the gap, and he made 200%. And a lot of other traders in the community were doing the same. You see, Dell Yash was guiding. Yusuf was on top of it. Beautiful, beautiful guidance by Yusuf. He used the EMA Cloud system. He risked 512s, and intraday Dell just kept going. Right. So Dell was good one. This was good setup, and this is what I shared, and I even shared it. This, you see, this is my alerts. My alerts, I had set up alerts because of the breakouts. So that was a Dell 148 breakout, and then there's a 145 breakout right here. This area was the breakout over previous day high. So that's why I set up all these alerts on Dell, so that we can trade that and we can find those opportunities and understand how the is working. And the Dell target I gave was 150 350. So when I gave the target to everybody, and we, because my target was this, right? So my target was this Fibonacci level on the gap fill. So that was my target. That's why I gave the 150 350 target. We did meet it. Actually, we met more than that. We hit 154.14. So yes, so definitely, even though it was a slow day, but these few trades were just so amazing, and they were repeatable setups. You can trade it again and again, and you just find those setups. I mean, I just love it. I did not swing Dell because it was closing under 150, but maybe we get an opportunity to get back in again. Any pullback to 144s will be solid plays, or 145s on the 1 hour chart. So let's go to the next one. So next one we're going to discuss is Boeing. So Boeing was a pretty nice trade in the community, and this trade was by Lexi, my team member and one of my lead trader, really good trader, proud of our one of my proud of my bright students. So anyways, let me show you the Boeing pre-market, right? So Boeing pre-market, we had news, we had it on game plan. The levels were in the daily sheet because we trade Boeing every day. 178 180 resistance, 176.55, 176.32. So those were the support levels, right? So this area right here, so you can see this area, and then this area was as well, support level here on Boeing, all this area. So anyways, so Lexi was on top of it. She got in BA puts right away at 9:30, and breaking all those levels, and BA went on to fade like $5, right, from 177 or 173 or 443 or $4, and very bearish. Lot of news of Boeing all day in the community, and there was a decent trade, nothing special to talk about here, but was a big win. All right, let's look at the next one, which was ITCI. So ITCI was a morning B minus short. What is a B minus short? B minus trade is any trade which is against the 3450 clouds. This is a short, but we are against the 3450 clouds. It's a short here with 512s, but it's still bullish, so we know it can bounce from the clouds, right? So when I was talking about ITCI, let's go to our pre-market plan. So ITCI, I said neutral bias, if 512 break, we can have a B minus short. I already told that. So what happened here? I already mentioned it, that it will be a B minus short under, under that 512s. And that's what it did in the morning. I can show you better if I go to 3-minute chart. If I go here, so you see that it's breaking that level. If maybe I can just go, you show in my clouds here. Okay, let me show you these clouds, right? So what is this cloud? Let me see if I can fix those. See 512s, 10-minute chart. So you see that is breaking down there. So when that is breaking down, and you can take that short to the 3450 clouds. if I move it, let's see if I can change to 3450, so you can see that that's the level right here, 3450. That's where it's bouncing from. So that was a B minus short. There was enough time to scalp short 75 to 72s. That's why I said B minus short versus 76 risk, 7150 first target or 3450. So 7150 target met. Look, 7150 target met. And then the bounce. And the bounce was pretty nice. It was a long setup. You long versus the clouds. So basically, what you do is you long versus those clouds, and you let it work. So you long versus that cloud, and then there was a breakout over 78, but of course we moved a big from the down here. So there were opportunities from both here and both there. And I did mention that to everyone, that's our target. You're supposed to cover here, and when you see this hammer, then you're supposed to go long. So that was ITCI in the community today. So it was beautiful move on ITCI. Leo was on trading that. So you can see that it's a repeatable setup. Y was a short, B minus short. It was not an A plus short. So if you're just holding the short, you would lose a lot of money. But you have to understand what I'm saying, what my setups are. When I say something, what I'm doing it. Most of my traders, my students know that because they understand the system and setups. But definitely something to learn here. All right. So next one we're going to look right now is basically AMD. So let's see what AMD was all about. So AMD today was bearish. AMD was a short. AMD was short. I told everyone right in the morning. Reason being because AMD had a news. There was the news about what was it? The data breach, right? So AMD was a short because I gave the pivots in the pre-market. So our AMD pivots are 157, 157, 36, 157, 80. So you see that that's the pivot. It's breaking down. It's short right away. The thing about AMD is 1 hour is bearish and 10-minute is bearish. All the time frames are bearish. When all the time frames are bearish, that means it's kind of an B plus short, right? Because you're going with the trend. Even though AMD kind of made this bear flag, but does not matter. It was still a short all day. If I go turn the Ripster clouds on, and you can probably see that we were. Where this come from? Hold on. Yeah, okay, I need to turn this off. All right, here you go. So you can see that it still was under the 512 Ripster clouds, and it was a short all day, and told everybody in the morning, and then it bear flagged, and then went to 153, right? So we'll watch. We have a swing, but swing is we know it's kind of once the 160 level breaks, so that's supposed to be if you were supposed to cut or you wait for 150. Let's look at one loser today. So BSX was kind of a loser. I mean, it was short. Let's look here. Usually the company that buys the other companies are short. So I said a bearish bias, and that's why I told everybody in the morning to short BSX. But it made higher lows, and right over 512s. Nothing crazy. 60 cent loser there. But I told everybody not short anymore. I told everybody at 10:13, and since I told that it's not short anymore, it went on to push $1, right? So that's important to understand. When it's not a short, don't look again, just get out or trade long. You can go either way. So Adobe was another one for us, which was our day two winner. The reason being it went over the clouds. So you see that how Adobe was, going over the clouds. What's going on here? Something is up with the clouds. All right, I'll fix them later. So you see that Adobe was moving over the clouds, and that was bullish as per the day two rules. And Adobe, what was the resistance? 519. So 519, 521. So this area, right? So this was kind of the bullish pivot on the clouds on 3450 clouds. That was the level, and to push over, and then there was this breakout. So it was a nice trade. Traders were long on Adobe. So Adobe was definitely not a short. It was bullish because so it was over the clouds. You don't short it, and then it's breaking these pivots. And it was also holding this 1 hour chart. So significance of 1 hour chart is very important to note, right? Because you can see if it's completely bearish or completely bullish. Those a lot of things you can understand there. There is another name that we have been watching for quite a while, CELH. That's why I put it on the day to list, which was, 60 was a resistance, 59.29. So those were some of our resistance levels right here. You can see that, right? So there was this level, and there was, this area. So there was definitely a lot of plays, which and it was a bullish as well, and a lot of traders were on CELH today, and it kept on going once it's over the cloud. It's simple rule, right? It's over the cloud, it's bullish. 1 hour actually turned bullish. So you know that when 1 hour turned bullish over the Ripster 3450 cloud, it's a good long setup, and that's why it was running. It ran from 60 bucks. The pivot I gave in the pre-market from 60 bucks, it ran to on the 263. So definitely a good trade, and now we'll watch it. It's still daily is still bearish. Only 10-minute and 1 hour is bullish, and this cloud has not really turned bullish, but at least 512 is bullish, and it's trying to turn bullish. So we'll watch it on Thursday as well.